Janice, put the pizza down. Do it. Janice? Oh, hey there. I didn't even see you there. I was just trying to help someone change their life by losing weight. Let me help you. Now, before we get started, did you want to go ahead and leave a quick tip? Maybe put some zeros in there, help me get some ground beef? Okay, I'll do this for free. In this video, I want to share the #1 thing that I did that really gave me the long-term weight loss success that I was searching for. Now, after 15 years, I've lost 30 pounds 4 times, and 2 of those times I lost over 50 pounds. So I know exactly what I'm talking about, and I'm so passionate about this very thing that I believe this is the answer, because this was the answer for me. Now, I have one goal for you specifically. This is my overarching goal for you. Long-term success. I'm not here to help you lose the weight. I don't care. That's not enough. We want to go one step further. We want to go beyond that, and I want to help you lose it for the long term, which means fixing the mindset, crafting a real plan, doing the things and changing your habits so that you have the long-term success, because you have to change and become a different person in the process. That's the secret. That's what it's going to take. The mindset. That is the answer. When you can figure out the mindset, that's it. Because now you're taking care of the things that are the underground things that are going to pop up while you're going through your journey. And if you can't figure this out and you haven't gone through this process to go ahead and set yourself up for success, like that's about planning. Like, what are you going to do even if you lose the weight? You're not there. And a lot of times this is what's overlooked, and this is what was overlooked for me. So in 15 years, this was the #1 thing that I changed to get the long-term success that I had. Because for me, I kept doing the before pictures, before pictures, before pictures, before pictures, and figured out, why am I not getting the ground that I wanted? Well, it's because this wasn't ironed out. So when this is done, I just want to point this out at the very beginning, because we're going to talk about the mindset and we're going to talk about how important this is. But what I want you to do when this is over with, I want you to go through, I put together a free course, and it's going to be dealing with the mindset for your weight loss. But I have an exercise with 50 questions. I want you to go through it question by question and really go through and really think through this, because what I want you to do, instead of just starting, I want you to understand what you're up against. I want you to understand and get to the next layer below, because we want to ironclad the foundation, and it starts with this. So make sure you go through this. When this is done, just go ahead and comment the word mindset, and I'll send that to you, or it's going to be the first link in the description. Make sure you do that, because this sets up everything. So the 5 different areas of the mindset we're going to talk about. #1, consistency over perfection. #2, long-term identity, not short-term dieting. #3, reframing setbacks as feedback. #4, emotional and environmental control. And #5, discipline over motivation. Now, this kind of thing is going to be something that as you're going through this exercise, you're gonna notice this, and you're going to have to figure out how this connects with you, the emotions, the triggers, your past, your insecurities, your failures, all of it. So the first thing that you're going to want to focus on, progress over perfection. Aim for 80-20, 90-10, not 100% 0. This is how you burn out. I have to be perfect. No, you don't have to be perfect. You just have to be better and do it for a long period of time. Now, the closer you can get to 100, the better. So I'm not going to say, hey, you could just go halfway. No, it's going to take longer and longer and longer. But you don't have to focus on being perfect. So I want to make sure that you understand that is not the answer. As you're going along, you're going to be learning things. This is about learning, because we want to make sure you have an ironclad plan so that this is the last time you're going through this again. I can't do this again. I can't lose the weight again. It's too long, it's too hard, it's too difficult. And so I'm like, why don't you just grift off me? Let me show you what I've learned so you don't have to repeat it. You are going to have to go through this process one more time, but I want to go further with you so that way you don't have to repeat this. Okay? One bad day doesn't erase a good week. I'm a binge eater. I'm an emotional person. I have emotional triggers. And it's very easy. This is something that really means something to me because it's very easy to have a bad meal and say, well, it's over. I might as well just give up. No. 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 Think of it this way. You're going to be going through the process, and as you're going along, you're going to notice different hiccups that come up. Even when you have the whole plan in place, you're going to have to tweak it and make the adjustments along the way to make sure that you know that what you're doing is working, and not just working, but it's working for you for the long term. Because we want to take the mindset attached to the how-to that works for you, and that's going to give you the long-term solution. That's going to give you the long-term winning that you actually need. But when you're going through it, you're going to have little things that you're going to have to tweak along the way. Again, this is going to be for you. There's things that I know that you can grift off everything, copy everything that I've done, and I'm going to show you stuff. But I want you to understand that you're also going to have some of your own unique challenges that you're going to face along the way. So what ends up happening, so you understand how this looks, is you're going to be going through the process, and then you're going to have these emotions, you're going to have these triggers that come up, different things that happen along the process that you're going to have to deal with and face head on. And it's going to be hard mental work, it's going to be hard emotional work, but that's just part of the process. And this is very much neglected. So that's why I want to start with this. Now, what you're going to do is, when you hit a bad day, because this was something that was big for me, is that you can get stuck in your feelings and be like, well, I had a bad day, I had a bad meal, I might as well just quit. I might as well throw it up, this is too hard. Don't do that. Don't make one small mistake. Again, easier said than done, I understand it. Don't make one small mistake and ruin the rest of the week. You want to build the routines. When you're going through this process, you're going to be looking for things that are going to work for your daily life. You're going to look at what are the type of routines that's going to keep me on track, dealing with how do I feel about those routines, and is there a better way to go about it? But you're starting to plan this stuff out. You're going through the process. Now, when you get this, just go ahead and comment the word mindset and I'll send it to you. But I want you to do this right when we're done. Okay? Focus on streaks, not slip-ups. Now, when you focus on the streaks, it really brings it in where you're starting to prioritize it. You're really making this whole journey a priority, and you're focusing on what are the things that you're doing right and continue to do those. Just if it's going well, just write it and keep on going. Celebrate small wins. Momentum matters more than speed. Now, this is important because this is very difficult. So whenever you get wins and you recognize it, and again, this kind of thing, this is how you recognize it, because you're like, I get it. This is a mental hiccup. This was a issue in the way that I've now dealt with. So you want to focus on those and celebrate them. Now, I'm not saying go have a feast. That's probably the wrong way to celebrate. But understand, let your feelings hang out here. Let them hang out here, because winning at all is worth something, and it helps you in the motivation to continue. Now, the reason momentum is better than speed is because momentum is as if you're firing at all cylinders, or most cylinders, and then you're just going to keep it going and riding. Whereas speed, you might be cutting corners, you may get somewhere quick, but you don't have the understanding to back up and to actually do it again if you have to. Again, this is one more time. I want to help you be set up for one more time with this and never have to deal with this ever again, other than the maintenance of it. An uncomfortable truth is that even when you lose the weight, keeping it off is a whole nother ballgame. That's hard too. That may be even harder. But I believe you have very little chance if you don't solve the mindset. So understand that. Second, long-term identity, not short-term dieting. Stop thinking I'm on a diet. Think this is who I am now. I'll give you an example. So right now I've walked over 400 days straight of 10,000 steps per day without fail, without miss. Yeah, there's times I've been hobbling, but the point is I did it. Because to me, I'm a guy who walks 10,000 steps every day, no matter what. This is who I am now. I'm no longer, it's not that big of a deal. Walking is for the weak. All of the excuses that I used to make, that's not who I am now. I take action, and I actually do the things that move the needle. And that's what I want for you as well, to understand and to be able to become a different person. Now that's the biggest thing with this, is that for the long-term success, as you're going through all of this, you become a different person. See, for me, I was in a situation where it was for years, it was, let's do the before picture. Let's do the before picture. Let's do the before picture. And we got years of this. No progress, because this wasn't quite settled out. I'm dealing with things like, am I even worthy to lose the weight? Is it worth the effort? All the different failures, you all just get into a mind field that's overwhelming, and you're just thinking, I don't even know if it's worth it, and it is worth it. So I want you to know it's worth it, even if you don't feel like it. But go through the process and remember that while you're doing this, the long-term success is going to be predicated on the fact that you become a different person in the process. Okay? Anchor to identity. I'm the kind of person who. So I get up at 5 every single day. I don't have to, but I do it. In summers, it gets my steps in because it's as hot as can be. But the fact of the matter is, that's just who I am now. I eat healthy because that's a better version of me that I become. It's a way to love myself instead of saying, hey, I'll just feed myself bad things that are going to harm me because I don't care and I don't have enough self-worth for that. The self-worth thing is a big, big problem. And I struggle with it like everybody else, but that's where this whole thing is. That's the underlining stuff that you're going to have to deal with as you're going through. Okay? Now, see choices through the future lens. Will this help future me? Now, one of the biggest things is because it's a mental deal, you've heard seconds on the lips, weeks on the hips. Ask the question, if I were, see, because this is self-awareness. You have to be able to recognize when the triggers come and then ask the question, if I eat this, how will I feel 15 minutes from now? How will I feel an hour from now? The next we want to talk about is replace temporary rules with lifestyle habits. This is one of those things where I always thought, I don't want to have to talk about all this stuff. I don't want to be like that person or the couple that's just talking about food and the annoyances of fitness and all that kind of thing. But here's the thing. Here's what I discovered is the reality is you have to shift the priorities. You have to create a whole new path for yourself, at least at the beginning, until you discover the kind of person you are in this process. But for a lot of people, including myself, that has to increase the priority of where it is, or you're not going to make it. This has to be a high priority or no chance. So if anything, you have to change the rules for the short term for you to get the results if necessary, as you're creating a path forward. Okay, does that make sense? And then last, make weight loss part of your character, not a phase. So you're just living that lifestyle now. Now you're living more healthy. You're living with weight loss management. You're eating the things that are going to keep you on track. You're eating the things that are going to be feeding your goals. Okay? So then number 3, reframing setbacks as feedback. So when you have a setback, again, you got to go back here and figure out, okay, I had a blockage over here. There was an issue. So what is it doing at the mindset level? What am I noticing at the mindset level that's getting me into a situation where I messed up. I messed up. And why did I mess up? What is it that I'm missing? So you want to tackle that. So plateau. Data is not failure. This gives you data. Doing the work gives you data. Again, we want to frame you and get you ready to do the work. But while you're doing it, it gives you data. That's why I'm also a big fan of making sure you weigh at least once a week, minimum. That's what I did. I weighed once a week, I graphed it, and I did that for 5 years on this last journey. So I know I can look at it as at the data. It's the data that I want to know, because that tells me my story. So when I look at the graph that I created, I can tell, okay, what was going on at the time because I've learned the mindset. And then I can make the adjustments. So binge or slip, ask why instead of what's wrong with me. You made a mistake. So what? We all do. You're going to make a ton of them. Even when you have this, you're still going to make mistakes. But you got to ask the question, why did I do it? Why did I slip up? Why did I make that decision? Instead of, I'm just a bad person and then quit. And a lot of people are there. No shade thrown at you because I've done the same thing. But I want you to understand and to look at it just a little bit different. So that way you can continue moving forward. Use setbacks to tweak environment, not punish yourself. Again, the data tells you how you can make the adjustments. Don't fall into the self-worth of it and say, well, I wasn't good enough. I failed a lot of the diets. But the fact is I did enough things right for a long enough period of time that I got the results anyway, just by default. So I just want to help you do it a lot faster. What I took years for me, I want you to do it in months, okay? So keep learning, keep a learning journal. Note triggers, lessons, and adjustments. Again, you want to take note on the things that you have messed up on the things that you're struggling with, so you know how to make a new path forward and make the adjustment, and you have data to back it up. That's why it's really important to keep this all in mind and to really recognize and have that self-awareness that you can look at it and say, oh, I know what happened. I know how I was feeling. I know what I was thinking about. I know all of this stuff, because that is how you get the long-term success. Again, that's what we want for you right here. So remember, consistency after setbacks is what separates motivators from quitters. Okay? So the quicker you're able to bounce back, the better you're going to be. So number 4, emotional environmental control. This is massive. I actually had to remove myself from a situation because of the trauma. It took me an entire year to get back on track, because for me it was such a painful experience that I realized if I was going to move forward and I was going to break through this, at least for the time being, I needed to go ahead and set that aside for my own health, for my own weight loss journey, and for me to be able to move forward without those emotional triggers, because they're so severe and I know how to cut it off, at least for the time being. And you might have to as well. Again, how bad do you want this? That's the point. Recognize emotional eating triggers, stress, boredom, social pressure. Normal. Are you watching the game and are you eating mindlessly? You got to be careful and be very alert on your behaviors and the eating. The eating, what you put in your mouth is so important. It's so important. But you have to understand and realize what you're doing. Okay? Swap comfort food for comfort action. Walking, journals, calls, calling somebody. Man, I've grown a passion for getting my steps in and walking. And that is if you have a problem, go for a walk. That's going to give you some things that you want to interject as a hack to be able to get through this moment that you have and then get some clarity along the way. Okay? Control your environment. Remove temptations. Again, what do you need to do to make it easier for you as much as possible? Because the emotional issues and the pressures are real things. And so we want to make sure that we get as many things out of the way and get our mindset ready for this process, and to understand this is what we're going to need to do moving forward to get that success and break through that barrier. Okay? Build accountability. Community coach, friend, check-ins, things like that. This was really helpful for me, as I had a friend who lost over 100 pounds. I lost over 50, but we hung out and we were on somewhat of the same path forward. Our eating was on point, very similar. That made it a lot simpler for us. So if you have someone who's on the same journey, and I'm building a community as well, then this is really important. I think accountability is another area that few people dig into, and I think it's very, very important, especially with this, and especially having the support system in place. Okay? Separate emotions from food. Eat to fuel, not to cope. I know that's easier said than done, and I know that the thing is, with the emotions, you want to go to the worst food possible, right? Pizza, food, ice cream, donuts. And the fact of the matter is, you want to shift it a little bit, at least for now. You want to realize that, hey, you're on a journey right now. You're doing some real work. Use it for fuel and try to do the best possible to get comfort in a healthier way and not with food. Just don't put it in your mouth. If you can at least get to that point where you say, you can put a stop to it and say, okay, if I do this, what is this going to do to my progress? That's why I also recommend working out in the morning, because it's like, do I really want to undo it? There's a hack right there. So, and then number 5, discipline over motivation. Motivation fades, discipline carries you. Now here's what I want to say about the motivation. When you're in the motivation phase and you're feeling motivated, ride that thing as far and as hard as possible. Because when it catches, just take it as long as you possibly can. But while you get that motivation, you're creating habits as well. So it's the discipline that is going to do it. It's the discipline that allowed me to walk over 400 days and counting every single day, at least 10,000 steps without fail, because it's unacceptable for me to do it. So now it is a discipline. And that's what it created. Motivated doesn't matter. I'm going to hit the 10,000 steps regardless, because I have the discipline now. But it takes time to build this. It takes a lot of habit forming and doing it every single day to now it's a part of my life. Does that make sense? Use if-then rules. If I skip my workout, then I have to walk 30 minutes. Now, I like this. It is a form of punishment, but I think this is important. I think that if you're like, it's better to get walk for 30 minutes than nothing. So we'll take that. If that's all we can do for now, and then we can maybe go back to the drawing board and figure that out again, and then we move forward, okay? Build non-negotiables, daily steps, bedtime hydration. I get up at the same time every single day, 5 a.m. I make sure I get my steps every single day, at least 10,000 or more. I had 21,000 yesterday because I was just walking around like crazy. So I make sure I nailed that. And then I also make sure that I do my regular training 4 days a week. Two days on one section of the body and 2 days on the other. So that's kind of my goal, is I want to hit every body part twice a week. Okay? So that's a non-negotiable for me. Regardless, I'm going to get my steps. Regardless, I'm going to eat the same food 90% of the time, because that's like my baseline. It's like my staples. I'm going to continue to do that because that's what's working for me. Okay? And I want the same for you. So focus on systems, meal prep, weekly planning, not willpower. So plan some meals. Get the junk out of your house. Don't have food and snacks laying around, especially when you're starting out. You need to remove everything possible, every possible temptation, to be able to iron-proof your house, iron-proof your environment, so you remove some of these things that could be in the way. That's why you build the system. And again, you're shifting into how you live your life. That's what it's going to take. It's not popular. I know, I wish we could just do what we want and lose the weight, but we want the long-term success. That's what I want for you, okay? Create rituals that trigger actions automatically. Example, putting shoes by bed, filling the water bottle, things like that. If you can remove as much friction as possible for you to take the steps that you need to. Again, this is going to take time, but we want to build on a solid foundation. And again, that is going to start with a mindset. So what I want you guys to do is go ahead and go through that course, go through those questions. It's going to be the first link in the description, or go ahead and comment the word mindset and I'll get that to you. So with that said, go do that, and I'll see you guys in the next video.